This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. Before we get into the Owl Post today, just a reminder to check out my other podcast, 20th Century Boy. It's the conversations you wish you were having about the stuff that no one else cares about. If you want to hear more of me, every Thursday, 20th Century Boy is out. I'll see you there. Hoot hoot, it's Harry Potter and the Boys Owl Post edition! Hello, Amores, everyone. Welcome to another Owl Post edition of Harry Potter and the Boys, a fan fiction podcast by me, Radio Mike. Haven't done one of these for a few weeks, mainly because of the live show taking up a lot of my time, but also remember, we need owls. Send in your owl, radiomikepod@gmail.com. And also you can send it to my Instagram at radio.mike. You can also just send me a DM on the @HPATB pod Instagram, which has daily Harry Potter memes as well as clips from the show. And as well as that, guys, thank you to our 6 Patreon supporters. We love all of you. Jacinta, Seth, Samantha, Phoebe, Leon, and JJ. So Jacinta, Seth, Samantha, Phoebe, Leon, and JJ. We love having you on board. And remember, if you are on the Patreon, you get access to full video versions of the podcast. You can watch me and Sam or whoever the guest is record the pod. You cannot get them anywhere else. And I am still working on getting all the vision for the live show, which will eventually go up on the Patreon as well. But Patreon supporters of either Harry Potter and the Boys Patreon or just the Radio Mike Patreon get the full unedited live show with an extra 25 minutes or so on top of the pod. So thank you to everyone who signed up. It's patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys. Let me know if there's any bonus content you want there. I do want to keep the Owl Post bonuses public, but if there's any particular bonus content you want on the Patreon, like I even thought maybe like a weekly Harry Potter meme wrap, like I just do memes, Harry Potter memes, and read them out, sort of like I do sometimes on Owl Post. Just let me know. But yeah, thanks to everyone who is supporting. Even if you think you won't even watch the video pods, but you still want to support the show, please do on Patreon. I mean, it's just it just costs us money to for this show to just exist. So if you can help, that would be amazing. All right. Got a few owls to get through. And of course, I should say, me and Sam do talk about it on tomorrow's episode, but we are super, super grateful for the live show. It was amazing seeing you all there. And I had a few messages come in. Got an owl in from Daniel Modica. He actually sent an owl in via my website, radiomike.com.au/contact. Feel free to message in there. Hello, Hamora Mike. In your last Owl Post podcast episode, you asked everyone to send through some letters, so I thought I would oblige. Usually I don't have anything insightful or original to email about. I recently saw the Harry Potter Cursed Child play, the condensed version, in Melbourne. I never thought I would actually see it because of the distance, cost, timing. I flew from Sydney, so it makes the exercise more expensive. Yeah, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is finishing here in Melbourne. I think it's finishing in July or something, or maybe even sooner. So if you haven't caught it yet, definitely go catch it, because I don't think it's going anywhere else in Australia, at least. So I don't think you can see it. It's not going to Sydney or Adelaide or anything like that. So get down and see it. It was very entertaining and I was impressed by all the magic. I really enjoyed it. Afterwards, I did some Googling about all the problems with the play, and I would have to say that I agree with all the timeline issues and character problems, etc. And I agree too. There's a review of the play on this podcast feed somewhere from a year ago or so. I still want to do the little comparison of the four act play and the 2-act play, because I've seen both, but I haven't gotten around to that. So despite the play being a trip down memory lane and playing on people's nostalgia, it is still very good and I would recommend it to anyone. It would be nice to have a new original Harry Potter story to read. Thanks for the podcast. It's awesome to listen to. Goodbye, Hamora. Daniel. Thank you very much, Daniel. Really appreciate you writing in. Georgina Lamming She is a Patreon supporter over on Radio Mike's Patreon. Really appreciated this. This is actually about the live show. It was just a funny message she sent me on Instagram before the live show. Little Owl came in. So excited for Saturday night, Mike. Hope you are too. So funny. I was trying to convince my friend from work to come with me today. She loves Harry Potter, but isn't familiar with your podcast, so a couple of us were reading out the descriptions of your episodes, and OMG, they make it sound like the most outrageous and disturbing podcast. I should have just said it's a Harry Potter fanfiction show and left it like that. And Georgina did ultimately convince a couple of her friends to come to the show because I remember seeing her there with a few friends. I don't know if the friends enjoyed the show or not, but let's just assume that they did. This one comes in from, who have we got here? Just a little owl came in from Kyle. Kyle says, currently listening to the new ep of Harry Potter and the Boys on crime scene duty, and it's keeping me awake. Very interesting, because where do you listen to the pod, everyone? I spoke to Amy on Saturday night when I met her, and she said that she listens while she goes for walks. Where are you listening to the pod? Because I do get a lot of owls in where people are like, hey, like, this podcast, I crack up so much when I'm on the train. Like, I feel like I look like an idiot, or I crack up so much on my walk. Where are you listening? Let us know where you're listening, because Kyle is listening on crime scene duty. Whatever that is, I assume that means you're a cop and you're at an active crime scene just listening to my Harry Potter fan fiction. That, look, I'm going to be honest, that does seem like a... we don't want our cops listening to Harry Potter fan fiction while they're on duty. But anyway, I'll let it slide. Next one. Actually don't know. This is, I'm not sure who this one is because I don't have the name here. But this person sent an owl. Says, hey Mike, love the pod. Happy to give credit where it's due. Honestly, the show has been amazing. Over 70 hours of podcast. Is there really 70 hours worth of this podcast? Jesus. An insane Harry Potter goodness in about 4 weeks of listening. So this person's been binging the pod. Has been amazing. Looking forward to the end of book 2 and on to book 3. Yeah, I think there's only like 5 chapters left. So, fuck, yeah. There's still a lot of chapters to. There's still 5 weeks left of book 2. Once book 2 finishes, we might just take a couple weeks break just to regroup, and then we will move on to book 3. Bez... I think that was actually Bez, and then I replied to Bez saying, hey man, really appreciate it, wish you could have made the live show. And he responded with, I think Bez is from the UK. He said, honestly man, I genuinely looked at the cost of going to Australia, but it was way beyond my reach as I've got some crazy trips planned already this year. So Bez considered flying to Australia, presumably by broomstick, to see this show. Obviously didn't, but there were people in the audience who came from Brisbane, flew down from Brisbane and Canberra here in Australia down to Melbourne. So that was really amazing to see. Thank you to those people for making that effort. Bez goes on, I'm off to LA in March for 2 weeks for Disneyland and WrestleMania, so that's huge. But I will get to go to Universal and see the Wizarding World for the first time, so that's very exciting. I actually don't think I've talked about Universal Studios Harry Potter World. If you've been, let me know your favorite parts, because I loved it. I've been twice, and I've only been to the one in Osaka, Japan. I've never been to the one in LA, but yeah, I've been twice. I first went in 2016. They have the Buckbeak roller coaster, and then they've got the AR Harry Potter roller coaster ride, which is probably one of the most immersive and best rides I've ever been on. It was amazing. I loved that so much. I wish I could go on it every day. You line up for literally like an hour and a half to go on this 3.5 minute ride, but it is so worth it. And it is so fun. Like, it's, you go to, like, there's Hogsmeade, and you go to like Zonka, like, or Honeydukes, and you can buy like the chocolate frogs, and they're so nice. The Birdie Bots, every flavour beans, all of the merchandise you can get there. It is so much fun. And the other thing is, like, I really want to go back to Universal, and I might try and make a little Japan trip in the next year or so, because they've also just opened Super Nintendo World there. So there's like a Mario Kart ride and like a Yoshi ride and you literally go and look at it. Even if you're not a Mario fan, just go and type in Super Mario World Universal and just look how fucking incredible it looks. It just looks amazing. I really want to go there. Bez goes on. Honestly, still no idea how I stumbled across this podcast, but it's been one of the best things and honestly made Harry Potter very fun again. The joys of being a 30-year-old that grew up with the films as they were happening, so my school years, so it was very relatable. Anyway, good luck with the next show. Looking forward to next week's pod and all that comes with it. If you're ever stuck for a guest and want a charming British guy to fill in for the wonderful Sammy, I'm available anytime. I do a lot of YouTube and Twitch stuff, so pretty good on the mic. Oh, you should have linked something, Bez. I didn't realize you did that. Yeah, it's cool. I think I was actually talking to this guy who works at my local cafe. So when I go and get coffee, he usually serves me. And it was the day of the live show, and he was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, oh, I've got this live podcast. He's like, oh, like of your podcast? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's it called? And I said, oh, I'll tell you if it goes well. Anyway, it went well. So I explained the podcast to him, and he was like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then he started listening to it, which was cool. But I realized I'm pretty sure if you just type in Harry Potter on the Apple podcast apps, Harry Potter and the Boys is like the second suggested post there. Like if I just go Harry Potter, yeah, Harry Potter and the Boys, it's in the top 5 suggested podcasts or things that comes up. So yeah, I think that is very, very, very cool. And the podcast is really, really growing in the world of Harry Potter based content. Al came in from Oren, who sends a few owls in, and you should send in an owl too. You know how. Glad it looks like the show was a great success. Can't wait to hear it, and maybe another show I will use as an excuse to visit Australia. Another person who wants to visit Australia for the show. Just have to wait for the housing market here in San Francisco to turn around so I can make some money again. Wow. So a US listener, thank you so much for listening. And from Hannah Richings, she sent a message in on the 31st of January simply saying she's a Dimmy defender. Of course, we debate on this show whether people are Dimmy defenders or Dimmy deniers. Sam is a Dimmy denier. Personally, I'm a Dimmy defender. She then said on Sunday at 5:30 p.m, I think the talk at the beginning of the episodes is as good as the actual fan fiction. Also, Neville's sex lessons is my favourite episode so far. That was just, some of the shit in this book just really, really, I don't know, just is crazy. Neville's sex lessons. Jesus Christ. Put pajamas on a gorilla and call me Stuart Little. Okay, few more. We had a great voice message that came in from Jamie, who is also a member of the Patreon, and she actually sent a little voice message, a howler actually. She sent in a howler, and it really made my day. I thought it was chock full of references from the show, so I really loved it. So I thought I'd play you her voice message. You can always send a voice message in, just email it or send it in the Instagram DMs.
Hooty hoo, Mike. Jamie here. Sending you this howler. Well, it's a nice howler to congratulate you on the live show. I thought you guys did great. Yeah, it can't be easy to talk about debating and paint sex in front of a live audience, but I thought you guys did great, and you did so very quintingly, if I may say so. I loved Sam's rendition of Harry's mum. Think I would love to hear you guys do a Harry Potter duet at some stage. Perhaps a romantic duet featuring Harry and nearly dickless Ned. I don't know. Let your imagination run wild. I hope you guys apparate to Sydney next, because I'll be there with bells on, and I'll definitely bring all my weird friends along. P.S. Derek is a disgrace to all wizards. Just a reminder. P.P.S. Thank you again for playing my Raxpert song. I was really chuffed with that. P.P.S.S. Love the chit-chat. Diddle-dee-dee, Jamie.
Okay, can I please use that as an example of more voice owls, more howlers? Can we have more howlers on the show? Because that was a delight to listen to, chock full of references from the book. I would love Owl Post to be all your voice messages and me responding. Even if you just have like a question, I can use these as like a Q&A. I mean, you can keep them relevant to the podcast, but you can just sort of cast them wider if you want. Just send in a voice message. Send in a howler. We want more howlers on the show. And more owls generally. Seriously, I think the owl posts are really fun. They're fun to listen back to. And the other thing about that and a lot of your emails that a lot of you send in is honestly, a lot of you guys, it really means a lot to me. One, that people listen to this dumbass podcast. But two, often your emails are just full of references from the show, like Jamie's message just was. And it's like, sometimes it's sort of unbelievable to me that, like, because really when we record this pod, it's just literally sitting in my apartment in the living room, like reading it out and laughing at it. And I see that it's weird because I see that there are lots of people listening to this show when I look at the numbers, like the download numbers, but I guess it doesn't equate in my mind that people are like remembering references and diddle-dee-dee and Derek is a disgrace to all wizards and quinting and like all this other shit. Like, it really, I don't know. It's really cool when you guys like do that. It's really amazing to me. And like, please don't think that is underrated and that I don't value it. I think it's really, really cool. Two more little messages. Firstly, Bella, who is a new listener of all of my stuff. She's also listening to 20th Century Boy, which you should listen to. She says, "Hi, Mike. Apologies for my lack of emails. A million things came up in my life, but I've caught up on Harry Potter and the Boys, and I'm so happy to get to listen now with the full context. Last week's ep was great. Wonderful to have you and Sammy's chit-chat back. Thank you very much, Bella. Love all of your feedback. And loved getting this email from Seth Boyster. Thank you, Seth. Sorry, thank you for your owl. Seth says, "Hey, Mike, I first heard you on the Four Finger Discount podcast." Now, if you are not familiar, I was a guest on a recent episode of Four Finger Discount, which is an Australian Simpsons-themed podcast. They have been doing weekly reviews of Simpsons episodes chronologically for the past like 6 or 7 years. They are now up to season 17. Great podcast. Dando and Guy Davis, but Dando was the founder. Mate of mine, we chat a fair bit, and he and I actually even talked about doing a bonus pod on their Patreon because he's never seen Harry Potter, so he wanted to watch them with me and do like a podcast, which we still might do. I think that'll be really interesting. He's a great speaker. But I was on the Four Finger Discount pod reviewing a Simpsons ep, so just to get that away, go and listen to that. He said, "Since I heard you, I've binged Harry Potter and the Boys. Big fan of this pod, big Harry Potter fan, and fellow Ravenclaw. So happy the podcast is back. Just subscribe to the Patreon." Oh, your Patreon, Seth. Thank you. "I would love to go to the live show, but I live on the other side of the world in the northeastern USA. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Sammy as well. The chemistry is great with you two." Thank you, guys. That's all the owls for this week. I will say I've been really enjoying Hogwarts Legacy. Once I've played a bit more, I'm going to give some more, like a more overview of a review. But if you've been playing it, let me know what you think. I'm really enjoying it. I'm in Ravenclaw, and I've literally just basically gotten to the part where you finished in Hogsmeade, without any spoilers. But yeah, really, really fun. If you're playing, let me know and let me know your thoughts. Tomorrow's ep is the ep with the big twist that the book has been teasing for many, many chapters. Me and Sam recorded it last week. It is really, really funny. And the twist was surprisingly interesting. Like, I don't think it's easy to pick, but it's consistent. So there you go. Now Sam's going to take a week off next week. I've asked Jackie to come on, so Jackie will be on the next episode. And then, yeah, we're kind of counting down to the end of book 2. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I will see you next week. Goodbye, HOWLERS. This Owl Post is over, but I know what you're thinking. We want more Mikey. More Mikey, more Mikey, more Mikey. Well, fret not. 20th Century Boy is up right now. There is an enormous back catalogue of episodes for you to listen to, and I'd love for it to become your new favourite podcast, 20th Century Boy. The conversations you wish you were having about the stuff that nobody else cares about. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.